This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and for the first time in a while, I'm delighted to be joined by Dec Spelman over Zoom. Dec, how are you?
I'm good, cheers, mate. Yourself?
I'm all good. I'm all good. What's going on with yourself? What's kind of the latest with your boxing career?
Boxing career-wise, not much. Obviously since the Yard fight, I've been a bit quiet. Just doing my own thing, really. Just enjoying life, to be honest. It was like I've had two back-to-back. Obviously headline fights, no events, big name fighters, and then obviously I'm carrying injuries as well for that. So it was just about getting right. And I'm 29 now, so I want to do, maybe got another 2-3 years at my best, I'd say. So I want to enjoy them and want to be ideally injury-free. So I thought take a year out, and then come back, bigger and stronger, I suppose.
I was going to say, when we last spoke, Dec, you said to me you was hopeful of maybe, even though you didn't think their team would accept it, an Arthur-Yarde rematch at the time. Do you are you happy now? Are you glad that you've just taken this year out just to kind of recover and to give this one final push of your career?
Yeah, I mean, I still love the Yard rematch, but it's the fight I'm never going to get, so I just accept that. But there's no regrets. No regrets. I needed the time out. I needed it for myself. You know what I mean? And I had a few career changes, and now I'm a very good friend of mine now. We're running a gym, running a school of boxing really. So I'm just dead busy with that as well. So that's helped me out with my own training. I'll kind of get back into the swing of things, like between my own clients and doing my own bit. So I'm enjoying what I'm doing, which also is, it just has a knock-on effect in life as well. So yeah, I'm liking what I'm doing.
So Dec, just with yourself and your own boxing career, what is the plan that you or your Carl are setting out for kind of the next chapter of your career?
Yeah, do you know what? In all honesty, there's no plan yet. I've literally spoke to him earlier on. It was not long before I'd actually spoke to you about this Zoom call. So it's like I just messaged him and said, look, we need to get something going. I'm training myself now, just doing my bits and bobs. I'm saying I'm back running, which is a big thing for me. I mean, I hadn't run since I did my knee injury, the first run of the Arthur fight, torn my lateral ligament on a 6 miler, and from then it had rolled me off. I mean, I was training with all kind of braces, and you know what I mean. And I was just literally just struggling to get through, and making weight was really hard because I couldn't get my run distance running in, and you know what I mean. It was a battle. It was an uphill battle, and to take the hard fight straight after it, it was probably not the smartest thing, but money talks, I suppose, sometimes. And I just thought, and I fancied the fight as well, even more so when I got in there. But I mean, so I don't have no regrets. But no, as far as the future goes, we don't have no plans yet. But I'm 100% coming back. As regards to what weight, I'm not sure yet. I want to see myself because I want to enjoy my boxing. I think boiling down to 12-7, I'm not the biggest 12-7, but I'm short and I'm stocky, and I'm strong at that, and I've got big legs, big thighs, big ass, and I carried my weight there. Do you know what I mean? So, and anyone will tell you who've been in the ring with me, physically I'm very strong, and I do a lot of sparring with big cruisers, and I don't know, I fancy a go at cruiserweight. I mean, nothing's set in stone yet because there's a lot. I mean, the domestically, like in the light heavy scene, it's booming. Do you know what I mean? So I'd be a bit gutted to leave that, but at the same time, I want to enjoy my boxing. And I think making the weight sometimes at 12-7 around doing like the jobs I was doing, it wasn't making the boxing very enjoyable for me. So I want to enjoy my last few years in my career, really.
I mean, Dec, I know you're saying domestically light heavies, stacked and there are some brilliant fighters in the division, but at the same time, if you was to kind of cement yourself as a legitimate cruiser, if that was the path you was to go down, there's some brilliant fighters at cruiserweight as well.
There is, yeah, there is, and the big old boys as well. But I've sparred my fair share, and like I'm good friends with Jamie Hughes, who just won an English Eliminator not so long back. So. I hold more than all my own. As an amateur, I boxed 85 plus, so and I did well there. So I mean, it's that I'm not ruling it out, but at the same time, if the right fight comes up at 12-7, obviously I'm going to take it. I've got the right mindset now as well as a guy like job wise, and I think it was hard because I was going working. Sometimes I was working shifts 6 to 210 sometimes, and doing it around that. And it's hard, you know what I mean? It was hard. I'm boiling down, and you know what I mean? But I think now I'm in the right environment. I'm not ruling out that I won't come back at light heavy, but I would fancy a stab at cruiserweight. But it's something what me and Carl got to talk about. It's something I mentioned earlier to him, and he agreed with me. You know, we'll have a chat about it and see where we go, really.
I mean, when you are back and you do have your first fight back, what's your ambition within the sport now? I mean, you mentioned you've had Arthur, you've had Shaq and Peters, Lyndon Arthur, Arthur-Yarde, 3 tough fights back to back. Is it now just trying to build a career for yourself, a path towards maybe a British title or a bit further afield, however far you feel you can go?
Yeah, I'd say it would be. I mean, this is another reason that I could have quite easily jumped back in. I mean, I was lined up to fight Cody Davis before, and I was doing it. I was carrying the knee injury, and I thought it wasn't the best. I wasn't really fun on the gym, and I think luckily I'm happy it didn't come off, to be honest with you. Because Cody's a good kid, and to be fair, it was down to them on their side. The reason it didn't happen, but it happened. But Cody messaged me direct and just said, "Look, this," just told me really why it wasn't happening, and fair play to him to doing that. So that was a fight I wanted to come off, which I would have really fancied. But I rate Cody. I think he's a good southpaw, very slick. He's well in the mix as well. You know what I mean, I think it's frustrating times for him as well, to be honest. Like. Being with Warren, and he's a bit tied up and stuff. So, yeah, I mean that'd be a fight that would interest me. You know, so I'm really not ruling it out. But for me, coming back, there has to be crowds back, and I want to rebuild myself. I could go back in, and I'd love to win it. Probably, if I'm going at cruiser, I'd like to have a stab at an English title again. It'd be nice to be a 2-way English champion. You know what I mean? That'd be a nice thing to say. But I'll go as far down the area level and build myself back up. It doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? So I said it before, and I say it again. Like, I just want to be in good fights, really, competitive fights as well. I don't want to be. People aren't green anymore to think like when you're getting in with journeymen and bashing them up, you're not impressing anyone. You know what I mean? And like my followers have seen it built coming up, and it's that accessible now on BoxRec. People know you can't kid the public now. Do you know what I mean? People know if you're in there with a noddy, you know they know what to expect. So yeah, it's got to be a good fight. Hopefully, you know, from what Carla said earlier on, we're hopefully getting another fight in my hometown. That's what we're going to work on. So it's nice. I mean, I do big numbers in my hometown. So you know, we got a couple of lads now from Scunny what are coming through a good lad. So that'd be good. I like that. If we got that, get the crowds back, and that'd be a good way to come back. And you know, obviously we'll see what way it's at. We'll have a chat. But yeah, I think that's the next plan. Trying to get one in the hometown, get the crowds back, and then have a real go at it.
Dec, what do you think you can win with the remainder of your career? What can you achieve rather with the remainder of your career?
Well, I mean, going off, you know, my performances against the top kids at light heavy, why can't I win something big? You know, I mean, I didn't disgrace myself in any of them fights. I mean, Lyndon fight was a tough job, and I admit that. And you know, I got my head peppered off a bit, but that's what Lyndon does. He did the same to Yarde. I don't care what anyone says. He did the same to Yarde. Yarde didn't get anywhere near him until the 12th round. He caught him with a nice shot. Apart from that, he got his head peppered off. So, and no one's really, if anything, I mean, what's his name? Is he the Ghanaian African kid before I boxed him? If anyone, he's probably given the most trouble. But he was carrying an elbow injury at the time, so he told me. So you know, it's expected when he's not got that jab, he's not going to be half as decent as he is. You know, that is his weapon. So yeah, I mean, going off what I could achieve now is, you know, I go off. He could have gone either way in the second Shaq and Peter fight for me. I've watched that back. I think I was a little bit unlucky in that, to be honest. But yeah, look, you know, what Shaq went on to win a British. Obviously got beat by Richards. I thought Shaq could beat Richards, to be honest. And then Richards went on and put a great performance against Bivol. So, you know, it's I know it doesn't always work out like that. You know, styles make fights and stuff like that. But yeah, I believe I could definitely win. You know, getting there, at least challenge for a British and putting a good show. And you know, that's an achievement for me anyway. You know what I mean? So if I can get in there as a British title challenger, Commonwealth title challenger, former English champion, you know, I can live with that. But yeah, I do want to see if I can get in there and give these top boys a good run for the money.
You mentioned, like we said earlier, the Yarde rematch and how you'd still love it. What do you think it is that you wouldn't be considered, especially with Anthony's, you know, for example, his fight, I know this is too soon for you, but he's fighting in Birmingham on August 28th. You know, he hasn't got an opponent yet. Somebody like yourself whose game will come forward.
Yeah, when that last opponent pulled out, I was thinking, oh, like I'm nowhere near the weight, but I'd have jumped in like a shot. I really would have, but I just don't know. I just didn't. Obviously, look, I'm not saying I don't rate the guy. I'm not saying I don't rate the guy, but I just thought he was very limited when he got in there, and he's very beatable. And he's not made any changes to his camp. He's still in there with Tundi, and I don't know. I just think it'll be interesting. I mean, if the rematch happens, what they're talking about now, aren't they, with Linden and Yarde, I think it'll be very interesting. I think now Yarde will know what he's got to do. He's got to put pressure, and I don't think Linden will have the power to stop Yarde. I don't think. But it's just whether he can get past that jab. And I mean, when he's on form, injury free, I think Linden's going to take some serious beating.
Sorry, Dec, I was just going to say, I was going to come on to and ask you about the Yarde and Arthur rematch, if that, or Arthur-Yarde rematch, if that takes place. For as much, obviously, Anthony may well approach it differently this time, look to be a bit more aggressive. For as good as Linden's jab was in the first fight, as he's mentioned, his right hand was injured beforehand, so it's also trying to weigh up how significant could it be for Linden to have both hands healthy for the fight.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's an interesting one. I said if the rematch happened, that it's an interesting fight. That I do think that's an interesting fight because Yarde will then know. Yeah, well, he's saying that if I got in the ring with Linden again, I know what I'd have to do. Doing it, putting it into practice is a different thing altogether. Do you know what I mean? So, but it'd be interesting. I don't want the rematch for Linden's sake. I don't think he deserves a rematch, to be honest. I think Linden deserves higher honours now, at least European title or something like that. He seems to be around ages as well. You know what I mean? So I think he needs to be cracking on now, which I think he will as well. But Warner seems to be pushing this Yarde rematch. So we'll see. But I mean, I'm not playing. He's not my boxer. But I'll watch the rematch. Don't get me wrong. But for Linden's sake, I'd like to see him go in and challenge for a bit higher.
And then just to link back to yourself, as you said, the Yarde rematch. Do you think that just will never happen then?
No, I don't think so. I think they thought it was going to be a demolition job, and when I got in there, I realised it wasn't just going to bowl over. You know what I mean? So I think that's a bit, not obviously a risky fight. I'm sure Yarde would snap it up. You know what I mean? It's not Yarde that won't want it, but I've got no. Why would he want to box me? Do you know what I mean? I've got no significance. I've seen an interview with Pat Barrett, and it's right. Like Yarde's in the nobody wants him club. Like what does he bring to the table? Before, you know what I mean? There was marbles on the table. Now what does he bring? Is that nobody wants to box him. So you know what I mean? It's and I'm kind of like that for him. What gain does he got by he's already beat me? Do you know what I mean? So why would he rematch me? I won't rematch me. So do you know what I mean? It's one of them, innit?
Another fight I just want to get your thoughts on is Josh Buatsi and Ricard Bolotnik's taking place at Fight Camp again. Just your thoughts on it?
Yeah. I mean, Bolotnik's a very strong, rough and ready character, isn't he? And you couldn't rule him out. I mean, and Buatsi is like, was it his last fight before he got tagged and he was hurt. So was it his last fight?
It was one before the Marco challenge fight.
Before, yeah. And so he's shown vulnerabilities, and it's an interesting fight that because I never had Bolotnik. I never thought Bolotnik could win that. That the golden contract, sorry. So it's and he just seemed to power his way through, didn't he? So I'm looking forward to that fight. It'd be good.
Right, Dec, I will leave you now to enjoy the rest of your evening. It's good to catch up with you, though. Hopefully I'll see you in person soon.
Too, mate.
I look forward to seeing kind of the next venture in your career. Thanks for speaking to Boxing Social.
Nice one, mate. Thank you. Cheers.